All right, let's get more news now. Super-strength synthetic opioid drugs linked to hundreds of deaths have been found in samples of fake medicines sold online. Some are being marketed to treat anxiety, allergies and sleeping problems. They're called nitazenes. The BBC has spoken to one mother about the loss of her 23-year-old son who was found dead next to fake anti-anxiety pills, as Navteej Johar reports.
Watching Alex perform and hearing him sing was, I'd say, one of the biggest joys ever in my life.
I feel like Alex's love for music was, like for many people, it was an escape from the struggles of daily life.
Alex Harpham dreamt of becoming an opera singer. In July last year, he'd just finished his degree at a prestigious music school. He was 23 years old.
And then there was a knock on the door at 2:30 in the morning. I went downstairs and saw a policeman there.
Alex had been found dead in his student flat. In his bedroom, police found anti-anxiety medication he'd taken that turned out to be fake. They believe he bought it from a drug dealer. Tests later revealed the pills contained nitazenes, super-strength synthetic opioids.
I feel like half of me has gone. That will never come back. I miss him all day, every day.
Alex was my best friend. On a practical level, there's no one else I can talk to now that really gets me. I'll never recover from it, truly.
Side of him that other people.
It's not known why Alex bought the pills.
He was always having trouble sleeping, and this had got worse with his ADHD medication. And my hunch is he probably bought them to calm himself down and try and get some sleep, I think. But that's a theory.
Alex is one of hundreds of people in the past year whose deaths have been linked to nitazenes. Many of them have been heroin users, but BBC research can reveal nitazenes have now also been found in fake medicines sold as being able to treat conditions like anxiety or insomnia. We've analysed results from the National Drug Testing Service, WEDINOS, and found 130 instances in the 12 months to September where people tried to buy medication found to have been contaminated by nitazenes. Experts say some people are seeking out prescription medicines illegally because they want to self-medicate.
So they look the same packaging, the colour will be the same. And there's always been a market for those types of drugs. People might buy them deliberately because they want to feel the effects of those drugs. Or they might be seeking them out because, for example, they developed a dependence through a doctor's prescription.
The United Nations says it's concerned that the contamination of these medicines by dealers could be deliberate and mirrors the start of the US opioid crisis.
There's a lesson to learn from North America, where the expansion of the opioid crisis was driven by populations typically not consuming heroin, but consuming prescription medicines. So here in Europe, we are not yet in that situation, but this could be the early signs.
The National Crime Agency says nitazenes are being created in illicit labs in China and entering the UK in the post. 15 synthetic opioids were banned in March, and last month the government proposed legislation to ban more. But experts believe this latest development means urgent action is needed. Alex's family want to see more drug testing and are warning that anyone can be affected by nitazenes.
I think there are a lot of parents out there that assume that their kids would never do anything like this. And maybe seeing Alex's profile, who he was, what he was doing in life, it just perhaps makes people think twice and think, actually, my child could be doing this.
Navteej Johar, BBC News.
Right, you heard a bit from Martin Reitelhuber in that story, but let's speak to him in a bit more detail, an expert on illicit synthetic drugs from the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. Thank you very much once again, Martin, for your time here on BBC News. Well, put this in perspective once again. How worrying and rampant really is this?
We have received reports from a number of countries in Europe which have also seen fake pharmaceuticals on the market which contain nitazines. And this is particularly worrying because people buying and consuming these products, they're usually not expecting nitazines to be present in those products. Nitazines actually have no known medical use. They were originally researched as a pain medication, but this research was abandoned because they were found unsuitable for that purpose.
And what is being done, or what can be done to try and keep this in check, Martin?
We propose a range of measures for governments. Early warning, so raising awareness, is certainly an important element of it, but there are other elements which are equally important. That is to inform emergency response services, first responders, that people suffering an overdose, that it could be from opioids. And there is an antidote, a very effective one, naloxone, which can revert the effects of a synthetic opioid like nitazene and actually be a life saver. But in addition to that, we also need to adapt legislation at the international and the national level to allow law enforcement to stop nitazines from coming in and to seize and destroy them when they find them.
And just to expand a little more for people who are sort of being confronted with this, fresh, what are the big health hazards, if you could expand? What are we looking at and the risks that they pose?
Nitazines are highly potent and toxic synthetic opioids. That means apart from the psychoactive effects and their effects as painkillers, they are also having effects on the body. They're depressing breathing. So they're slowing down breathing to the extent that a person could stop breathing, and that could have fatal consequences.
And you mentioned that there is a need for legislation at the international level. Do you foresee any challenges in actually doing that? And how soon do you think this needs to be addressed?
The United Nations has already placed a number of nitazines under international control in recent years. And this process is ongoing. So in March, member states will convene again here in Vienna and discuss placing additional nitazines under international control.
All right, we'll have to leave it there then. Martin Reitelhuber, thank you very much for your time and helping us understand this new threat from the perspective of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime.